Good morning, YouTube. My name is Yusuf, and you are watching my news channel. Today we are the 12th of the month May, and I'm going to cover the CME impact, which happened early at 6 UTC. Didn't expect it to hit us so early. So you can clearly see the initial impact. The BZ component becomes unsettled, slightly negative. The field strength increases, as you might expect, because the solar wind has its own magnetic field. The phi angle starts to fluctuate, and density-wise, we see clearly an increase in orange, as you can see over here, to around 30 or 40 protons. We will see how this develops further. When we look at the speed, we see a sudden jump. This is normal, from 300 to 400 kilometers a second, and it might increase even further. But this is the initial stage of the impact, so we have to see the coming hours how this develops further. And I will make a video to see if it actually, when it actually ends, when the CME is over. When we look at the KP index, we don't see much happening. This is normal. The impact just happens. This might change. We might see a geomagnetic storm. We will see in the coming hours how this develops further. When we look at the NASA ISWA simulations, and this is disappointing, we see that the data is missing, sadly. As you know, the impact happened at 6 UTC, but the data stops in this particular simulation, in the magnetosphere simulation. It stops at 4 UTC. And same thing with the magnetosphere standard distance. The data is missing. And if we look at the other simulations, they start again at 8 UTC. So there is like 4 hours missing. Whether this is happening by chance or not is debatable. I'm not going to do that now. But if you ask me, this isn't happening by chance. I mean, come on, what are the odds? 4 hours that just magically disappear just like that? I don't think so. So the only thing we can use actually is the simulation of the Spaceweather Prediction Center itself. And this I really don't like because they don't show much. The velocity is capped at 600 kilometers a second. The proton density is even worse at 4 protons. I mean, we are talking about a density of 40. How are we supposed to see what's happening? And they didn't even bother to change the color of the density into something else than blue, because you basically see nothing. I mean, the background is blue and the density as well. How much more stupid can you get? Okay, but it is there, and it is best visible when we look at pressure. Luckily we have this simulation, so you can see as we move to around 6 UTC that the impact is going to happen. There it is. It's actually at the end, more like beginning of 7 UTC, but let me just go back. Actually, just a few minutes, I believe. All right. There it is. So this is actually the initial impact, as you can see. Happens around 6.44 UTC. So there you have it. And then it is ongoing as you would expect it. And it is actually subsiding a little bit, the pressure. But in my opinion, the impact hasn't finished yet. We will see in the coming hours how this will transpire. On the Enlil spiral, and this is also disappointing, but not surprising, because it's from the Spaceweather Prediction Center, and this is actually really nothing but a joke. I mean, you don't see the impact at all. Why they don't bother to update the data in the simulation is a mystery to me. I mean, when there's a CME impact, it is logical that you actually update that data, but they don't. So here there's not much to see, sadly. So we have to go to our next topic. But like I said, this could change. We could have a geomagnetic storm. I will cover this again at the end of the day. I think then I might have a clear vision of whether or not this will be geo-effective. So looking at the sunspots on the visible side of the solar disk, we see that there's actually another sunspot, sunspot 2823, which is almost vertically aligned with the northern sunspot 2822. And there is of course a chance of flaring. However, I can see that the complexity is diminishing, and the question remains whether these solar flares will still be active. Now they are going to face Earth, and as you know, when a sunspot does that, it becomes less active. This is clearly visible over here. It has produced, when it was actually on the other side of the solar disk, a beautiful CME, an M flare, lots of C flares, but now as it is facing Earth, the activity subsides. But when it goes in this direction towards the exit of the solar disk, I do expect it to pick up in intensity. But we will see how this develops. So, looking at the Schumann resonance, obviously there is going to be activity, as you can see over here. It is not really the most intense reading, but it is there, and as you know, the Schumann resonance is important because it covers the same frequencies as the human brain, so it affects our mood, but also our physical state, as the human body operates at low frequencies as well. Looking at the CME tracker, let me just refresh it a little bit. There's not much. Oh yes, this is from today, but there's not enough data. Well, actually, they did sort of. Let me just make that a little bit slower. There's not really a CME going on. But I do see this will be updated further, so we will see whether we have a CME or not. Just over here, a little bit of activity. But other than that, nothing. So, looking at the earthquakes, as you can expect, it is actually picking up the pace, and we already talked about that yesterday. So as you can see, steadily it is increasing in magnitude. First we have 5.3, 5.4, 5.6, 5.7, and these two big quakes are around in the ring of fire. Actually, this is normal. If we do have a geomagnetic storm, I do expect at least a 6-pointer. But it depends, because the KP index at the moment of speaking is relatively calm. But like I said, if we look at the solar wind, this is really just the initial impact. So it is still ongoing, and at the end of the day I will make a quick video to see if it actually became geo-effective or not. So at this point, if you haven't done already, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button either if you actually liked the video. And as usual, I will cite a philosophical quote before ending the video, and today we are at number 37 if I'm not mistaken. Yes. What you do not desire for yourself, do not to others, obviously. There's no point doing evil to others and things that you don't like for yourself, because what would be the point of that other than being mischievous? So there you have it, people. I honestly hope you actually enjoyed the video, and I guess we see each other at the end of the day, since I'm making another video. Bye bye everyone.